Once upon a time, in the early 20th century, a magnificent vessel was born, the Titanic. It was a marvel of engineering and a symbol of human achievement. The White Star Line spared no expense in creating the grandest ship the world had ever seen. The Titanic was a floating palace, a testament to luxury and opulence. In the spring of 1912, the Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England, bound for New York City. Passengers from all walks of life eagerly boarded the ship, excited about the prospect of crossing the Atlantic in unparalleled comfort and style. Among the passengers were the wealthy elite, businessmen, families, and individuals seeking a better life in America. The ship was a microcosm of society, with its stark divisions between the upper-class passengers in first class, the middle-class passengers in second class, and the immigrants in steerage. As the Titanic glided through calm waters, the passengers reveled in its grandeur. They marveled at the ornate ballrooms, the lavish dining halls, and the luxurious cabins. The ship was a floating city, complete with its own postal service, library, swimming pool, and even a gymnasium. Among the first-class passengers were John and Margaret, a wealthy couple returning from a European vacation. They had spent the past months exploring the continent and were looking forward to a comfortable journey home. John was a successful businessman, while Margaret was known for her philanthropy. In second class, there was Edward, a young writer seeking inspiration for his next novel. He had saved for years to afford the ticket, and he hoped that the tranquility of the ocean would awaken his creativity. He spent his days wandering the ship, observing the passengers and their interactions. In steerage, there was Maria, a young Italian woman with dreams of a better future in America. She had left her family behind and embarked on the journey alone, hoping to find work and send money back home. Maria befriended other immigrants on board, forming a tight-knit community of support. As the Titanic sailed further into the Atlantic, it encountered colder temperatures. The crew received warnings of icebergs in the vicinity, but they remained confident in the ship's unsinkable design. On the fateful night of April 14th, Edward, who had been struggling with writer's block, stood on the deck, staring out at the vast ocean. Suddenly, the ship's lookout spotted an iceberg directly in its path. The alarm was sounded, and the crew rushed into action. The Titanic attempted to steer away from the iceberg, but it was too late. The side of the ship scraped against the massive ice formation, tearing a fatal gash along its hull. Panic spread throughout the ship as passengers and crew realized the severity of the situation. The watertight compartments meant to keep the ship afloat were breached, and seawater flooded in rapidly. The unthinkable had happened. The unsinkable Titanic was sinking. Chaos ensued as lifeboats were launched. The crew struggled to maintain order and prioritize the evacuation. First-class passengers were given priority, and John and Margaret found themselves on one of the first lifeboats. They watched in horror as the ship slowly tilted, its grandeur giving way to the merciless sea. Edward, who had been on deck when the collision occurred, helped women and children into lifeboats, urging them to hold on to hope. He knew his chances of survival were slim, but he remained determined to help others until the very end. In steerage, Maria clung to a fellow immigrant, both of them desperate to escape the sinking ship. The lower-class passengers faced tremendous obstacles, barriers of language, unfamiliarity with the ship, and limited access to lifeboats. Despite their efforts, many were left stranded on the doomed vessel. As the night wore on, the Titanic's grandeur was replaced by a scene of unimaginable tragedy. The ship's lights flickered and then disappeared beneath the icy water. The cries of the survivors echoed through the night, a haunting reminder of the lives lost. In the aftermath, the world was left in shock. The loss of the Titanic was a devastating blow, a reminder of the fragility of human endeavors. Investigations were launched, seeking to understand the mistakes that led to such a catastrophe. Safety regulations were revised, and the lessons learned from the Titanic's fate shaped the future of maritime travel. For John and Margaret, the horror of that night haunted them for the rest of their lives. They dedicated their wealth to supporting initiatives that improved maritime safety and provided aid to survivors and their families. Edward's selfless acts of bravery were celebrated, and his writings became a symbol of resilience and courage. As for Maria, she miraculously survived the sinking. Although she lost everything she had brought with her, she held on to her dreams of a better life. She found solace in the support of her fellow survivors and was eventually able to rebuild her life in America. Maria's story became a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of perseverance. The sinking of the Titanic left an indelible mark on history, a tragedy that continues to captivate the world's imagination. It serves as a reminder of the hubris of humanity and the consequences of underestimating the forces of nature. The Titanic, once a symbol of human achievement, became a symbol of loss and humility. Over the years, the story of the Titanic has been immortalized in books, films, and documentaries. Its legacy lives on as a cautionary tale, reminding us to respect the vastness and unpredictability of the ocean. The Titanic will forever be remembered as a vessel that sailed with the dreams and aspirations of its passengers, only to be swallowed by the unforgiving sea. As time passes, the memory of the Titanic and those who perished aboard her will endure. Their stories serve as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. The Titanic will forever be a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, an eternal reminder that even in the face of tragedy, hope can survive.